Have you ever been in a conversation that just felt like a fight, like a verbal boxing match? Yeah, you're not alone. So often we treat disagreements like they're battles we have to win. But what if there's a better way? Today, we're going to talk about how to construct arguments that don't build walls, but actually build bridges to understanding.
So this slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the wall approach. It's all about conflict, proving you're right, and it almost always ends with people feeling more divided than when they started. But look at the other side, the bridge approach. The whole goal shifts. It's about connection, it's about understanding, it's about finding that common ground. It's a small change in your head, but it makes a world of difference.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. First, we're really going to nail down this new way of looking at arguments. Then, we'll get into the fun stuff, the 5 essential building blocks for making your case. We're even going to see it all come together in a real-world example. By the time we're done, you're going to have a full toolkit to be a master bridge builder. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the big picture. Are your arguments putting up walls, or are they creating bridges? This is, without a doubt, the most important question to ask yourself right at the start, because how you answer it is going to shape the entire conversation. So now that we've got the right mindset, it's time to roll up our sleeves. In this next part, we're going to break down the 5 absolutely essential building blocks of any strong, respectful argument. Think of these as the tools in your bridge building kit. And here they are. These are the 5 pillars that hold up any good argument. You gotta have a clear claim, support it with a solid reason, back that reason up with some real evidence, be smart enough to acknowledge the counterargument, and, of course, wrap it all up with the right tone. Every single piece is crucial. Let's start with the claim. This is basically your main point. It's the one thing you're trying to get across. Your whole argument is built on this, so it has to be super clear and to the point. You know, if your claim is fuzzy, the whole bridge is going to be wobbly. Now, a claim all by itself is, well, it's just an opinion, right? The reason is the why. It's the logic that actually props up your claim and shows why it makes sense. This is what starts to give your argument some real weight. Evidence. This is the good stuff. This is what turns your idea into something tangible. It's the proof. It's the facts, the stats, the real-life examples, or even direct quotes that show your reason isn't just something you made up. It makes your claim really hard to ignore. Okay, now this one is a pro move. Acknowledging a counterargument isn't weak. It's actually a huge sign of strength. It shows you've thought about the other side, that you understand their points. And honestly, it makes your own position that much more convincing because it proves you didn't just consider your own little bubble. And finally, we have tone. And this one is so important. You could have the most well-researched logical argument ever, but if you deliver it with anger or sarcasm, nobody's going to hear you. The right tone is a mix of 3 things: being truthful, being logical, and, this is key, being loving, or at least respectful. It's about sharing your message with some real empathy. All right, we've got all our building blocks. Now it's time to actually build something. Let's see how these 5 elements come together to create a real, living, breathing argument. Okay, let's use a simple example. School lunch. So our claim is super direct. The menus need more variety. And why? Well, our reason is that a lot of students just skip lunch because they're tired of the same old thing. See? It's a clear claim with a logical reason right behind it. Now, we could just say, hey, a lot of kids are wasting food, but that's kind of weak, right? This is where evidence makes all the difference. A specific number, like a survey showing that 64% of students throw away half their food, that changes everything. It turns a vague complaint into a real, measurable problem. A number like that is pretty tough to argue with. So what's the other side of the coin here? A great bridge builder is always thinking about the counterargument. In this case, maybe it's that the school has a really tight budget. Or maybe it's just a huge logistical challenge to please thousands of different kids. Thinking about this stuff ahead of time means you can address it with respect. So we've covered the how of building a strong argument, but now we need to talk about something even deeper. The why. Why does this all matter so much? Let's get to the heart of it. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about being right, is it? It's about how we communicate. This idea of speaking the truth in love really gets to the core of it. Our goal should be to build people up with our words, not tear them down. It's all about finding that perfect balance between being honest and being kind. Remember, the goal isn't to win the fight. It's to open a door. This piece of ancient wisdom is so powerful because it reminds us that a calm, respectful response can completely change the dynamic. It can lower the temperature in the room and make space for actual understanding, even when you really, really disagree. And all of this brings us to a really crucial point. Our words have power, a lot of power. So let's just take a moment and think about the incredible impact we can have, for good or for bad, just by choosing our words with a little more care. Speak truth. That has to be the foundation. Without a real commitment to what's true, you're just building your argument on sand. And use reason. That's the logic, the glue that connects your truth to the world and lets other people see it too. Build bridges. That is the ultimate goal, right? To create connection, not more division. And in doing so, you bring peace. You're actually contributing to a better, more understanding world, one single conversation at a time. Look, you're not going to win every time, and not everyone is going to agree with you, and that's okay. But if you approach every conversation with integrity, with compassion, your words can still make a difference. You can plant little seeds of understanding that might just grow later on. If you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this. It's the powerful combination of grace and truth. When you can combine genuine compassion for another person with a solid grounding in what is real and true, that's when you can actually influence hearts and minds. It's not about being right, it's about being effective. So, what on earth does all this have to do with learning? Well, in this final section, we're going to connect all these dots and see how this approach to communication fits into a much bigger vision for what education is all about. Because at the end of the day, education isn't just about what you know, it's about who you are and how you use that knowledge. Information without wisdom, without morality, can actually be a dangerous thing. That's why it's so important to pair what we learn with a strong moral compass. The real goal of learning isn't just to be smarter, but to become a person who can think clearly, communicate with kindness, and act with compassion to help build a more peaceful world.